feel the power of the dark.
Hey guys, I hope you're hungry. Welcome back to War Stories. My name is Jericho, and here on the Fluence's channel, today I am joined by HolyDiver and TheIceMann. And so, for today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. Now we've wrapped up doing, a little discussion of each of the 7 Star Wars movies. We did, 6 in a row of the original trilogy and the prequels, and we did Episode 7 a while back. So we're going to start branching out into different Star Wars topics and just sort of talking about them, what they mean to us, what we take from them, what maybe could have been done better or differently, and just our reflections on different facets of the saga. So to start off, we're going to do a very pivotal one, especially for the prequel trilogy, but really it's the most pivotal in all of Star Wars when you get right down to it, if you ask me, and that is the Anakin's fall to the dark side, specifically when it actually happens. Like, the story of his fall and redemption is the story of Star Wars, but we're talking basically about Episode 3, like where, well, I guess between 2 and 3, when Anakin falls to the dark side. So basically the way we're going to do our little chat is each of us has sort of like a little thesis statement or something that they want to talk about with the with this topic, and then the other two will sort of discuss it. So I'm going to let HolyDiver start, and then I'll go, and then TheIceMann will offer his. So HolyDiver, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah. See. Personally, I think that one of the very best things about the prequel trilogy is how they did Anakin's fall to the dark side, and more importantly than that, how they did Palpatine's rise as the Emperor. Because it's a hard thing to become Emperor of the entire galaxy, and he did it like easily. And you could see all the planning that he must have done, and all the planning that therefore Lucas did. That I feel like that is the main story being told by the prequels, is how does one man become so dominant of the whole galaxy. And my idea is that as part of that, his goal was to find an apprentice who would not betray him. You know what I mean? Because he even talked about himself. He killed Plagueis in his sleep. He knows that, one Sith to embody firm power, the other to crave it.
Yeah, that's
the apprentice will always try to kill the master. So his goal, Palpatine's goal, was to find someone that wouldn't crave the power, and that someone was Anakin, because Anakin Skywalker he is completely defined by his passion for his family, his passion for his wife, his passion for the Jedi Order, and basically what Palpatine does is he slowly uses those different qualities against Anakin and then strips them away from him slowly until by the end, Anakin has lost everything. And he's just essentially a hollow shell that Palpatine can just order to do whatever he wants. I don't think that Anakin Skywalker himself was ever evil. Even by the time he became Darth Vader, he was just an empty, broken man, Palpatine had taken everything from him, and yet he still thought of Palpatine as a father figure. He still thought this is his mentor, his guide, and so he just blindly did whatever he said because, there's nothing else for him to do. And see, that was what Palpatine had always wanted, and it also became his downfall, because once he finally had purpose again, when they discovered Luke, Palpatine forgot where Vader came from, and that's what killed him. Is Vader realized, I have a son, I have someone to live for, I have a reason for not just blindly following him, and so it didn't take hardly any thought for him to go back.
It's a really good. I agree with a lot of what you said. The one thing that I would sort of not really disagree with, but I guess I don't like, is it sort of takes Anakin's agency out of it. That like, since if he was just used by Palpatine to that level, that it didn't really, like, his choices didn't matter. But that's kind of the point, that Palpatine had that much control over everything. He was just such a puppet master of the entire galaxy that at the end of the day, it didn't matter how what Anakin's choices were. One thing So this is from like Legends material, but so when they made the episode 3 novelization, it was actually released as the middle book in a trilogy of novels. The first was the Cloak of Deception, and that referenced that was when they first discovered about General Grievous, and it was just like a prequel novel, and then they had the novel that was the episode 3 novelization, and then after that came The Rise of Darth Vader. And in that, it makes it clear that Anakin hates Palpatine and hates what he's done to him. So I think that sort of would go against your argument, but then again, that is, you know, Legends material.
Yeah.
Like when you said he sees him as a father figure, like but I think that it's not hard for me to believe that Vader hates Palpatine the whole time, but he just knows he has no chance of defeating him because he's so destroyed, like mind, body, and soul, by what happens to him on Mustafar, that, you know, he's a fraction of what he was or could have been. And that's even that's another thing, and that actually I think is kind of made reference to in the episode 3 novelization, so it'd still be canon, is that Palpatine knew that Vader in the suit was not anything like Vader outside of the suit was or could have been, so therefore he would be easier to keep in check.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that if it ever came to that, Palpatine could definitely defeat Vader in the suit, in my opinion.
Well, especially since, like, I mean, like, you gotta believe his electricity would like mess it up.
Right.
You know, he is just like a boop boop robot.
I mean, it did.
Yeah, it did in episode 6. Exactly right. So what are your thoughts on HolyDiver's point, Iceman?
Well, just to go back to what we were talking about just now, I think it's also kind of directly referenced the fact that Vader never tried to challenge Palpatine. I think it's kind of like indirectly referenced when Vader's trying to turn Luke. And he's like, together we can destroy the Emperor, which really, I feel like maybe he just means...
Yeah, maybe you destroy the Emperor. I'll watch. I'll get you in the room.
Huh?
I'll get you in the room.
But see, I agree with him there, because, you know, at that point, I mean, when Vader says we will destroy the Emperor and rule together as father and son, I think he honestly wants that.
Yes, definitely.
He does. In the I just read the novelization of the original trilogy, and I mean, I don't know how much water those hold at all now, but yeah, that's what he says. Like, he does want that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think I don't even want power for himself. He wants Luke to have that power.
I mean, it's just like he says to Padme in episode 3, like, make the galaxy the way we wanted things to be. You know, he just wants things to be nice for the people he loves. It's all he ever has cared about.
Yeah. On a side note, Hayden Christensen's voice in that line, we can make things the way they want them to be.
So yeah, it's not very good.
No, it's but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about you know, the story, not necessarily how it was conveyed.
Well,
yeah, I wanna go about this like as if this actually happened.
no, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did.
It did happen. What are you talking about? They say it at the beginning. Okay, so yeah, HolyDiver, I like your points. I didn't know you were gonna. I didn't know that was gonna be like your whole take was really. It's all about the Emperor. I kind of like that. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that, though.
Yeah.
And here's why. The whole thing that got me thinking about Anakin's turn is watching the Clone Wars. I never watched it before. And those lead up, pretty much, I think the last episode takes place just maybe a couple weeks before episode 3 starts. Mm-hmm. So it really leads you right in from 2 to 3. And Anakin is so nice in it. He's so sweet. Like, joking around with Ahsoka, and, you know, he still loves Padme, and him and Obi-Wan are super close, so it made me almost, for a little while, and I kind of referenced it a little bit in our episode 3 review. Like I completely rejected his turn to the dark side for a little bit there, but the more I thought about it, the more I think that shows how fully you fall when you turn to the dark side. Yoda mentions it every chance he gets. It seems like once you go down that dark path, like there's no going back. So even though he just was little Anakin Skywalker a moment before, once he made that decision, and he made that decision himself, he was definitely seduced by the Emperor and tricked even maybe, but he made that decision himself. And once he did,
that's it.
I think his it just shows how gone you are when you turn to the dark side, if that makes sense.
And I think that when you look at Luke's struggles throughout 4, 5, and 6, and his own temptation to the dark side, that's one thing that the prequels do so well, is it adds so much more weight to the decision, because we've seen what can happen now. We know it's not just like, oh, you better not. Like, you're gonna end up a monster that kills people you cared about, like Vader.
Yeah.
So, I guess my thesis on Anakin's fall to the dark side is, I think that it was one of the less poorly executed things in the prequel trilogy. I think that my playing might really struggle here, because I want to focus on what I'm trying to say. I think that Anakin's reasoning is not presented very well, and like, we know that he's obsessed with saving Padme, and that's fine, and we know that he has these dreams, these nightmares, but we know from the movies that he's had nightmares and premonitions his whole life. So why is he so convinced to the point that he'll betray everything he's ever known and loved in the Jedi Order just for the fact that maybe Padme could die? Like, I think, like, that he, like, of course, he would leave the Jedi Order, he would abandon them, he would do this, that, and the other, but he's gonna slaughter children for that. And I think, some of that is the seductiveness of the dark side, that he doesn't see it like that anymore. It's just, well, this is just how it has to be. Like, it doesn't matter. Right. To hell with the whole...
Palpatine told me to do it, and he is the only way I can save Padme, therefore it's not even a thing anymore.
Right. And I guess, yeah, I do, but, like, why is he so convinced of Palpatine's infallibility, and why does he put so much trust in Palpatine when he knows that Palpatine has lied to him about so much? Like, not
referring to?
I'm sorry?
Does he know that Palpatine's been lying to him, or what are you referring to? And
when Palpatine says he's a Sith Lord. Well, I guess he wasn't. He never said, I don't know anything about the Force, but like, he misrepresented himself at least.
Sure. And
like, Anakin, you can see from his face when he confronts Palpatine for the first time and like ignites his lightsaber, he's like, "You're the Sith Lord we've been searching for." Like, he feels so betrayed and lied to, but. Well, you have a chance to save the chance of my wife dying, so it's worth murdering children. Like, it just seems like he doesn't... I don't know. Seems like he doesn't think it through. Like I don't believe that is the choice he would make.
Hello, I'll be out in a minute.
But... I don't know. So I think that in a lot of ways, and some of it is, the writing and the performance and all that, but I think that it is not as well conveyed. And when you look at the prequel trilogy, Anakin's fall is by far the most important plot line.
Right, it is the plot.
It is the plot line, if not of all 6 movies.
Sure.
And the fact that it did not come across particularly well, and like, really, anything that did not build towards Anakin's fall to the dark side, at least in some way, took away from the movies. Like, I love the character of Qui-Gon, and he's very interesting and a very good addition to the saga, and nothing to say against him, the performance, anything about it. But Qui-Gon matters very little, if at all, to Anakin's fall to the dark side. You know, like, if they had started later on with it already being Obi-Wan and Anakin, then they could have built their friendship more and built it breaking down more. Because...
See,
Go ahead.
I agree that they could have started with Obi-Wan and Anakin and it would have been fine, but I think that part of that, his early confidence, was Qui-Gon being so certain he is the chosen one, you know? He said that, like, to the council in front of Anakin's face. Like, he believed with his whole heart that he was the chosen one. I think that played a big part in Anakin's early, like, cockiness and overconfidence.
Obi-Wan, though, could have just as easily been the one to find Anakin,
No,
and
absolutely.
already have been completely.
Absolutely, and I do agree with you. I don't want to downplay what Qui-Gon did do in the movies.
Yeah.
Could Obi have done it better? Probably so.
I never considered that Qui-Gon may have had that sort of a lasting effect, and I mean, like, especially at that age, like somebody that dreams about Jedi and, you know, like what he can do in exploring the universe, comes and says, not only are you a Jedi, you know, do you have these amazing powers and this amazing destiny, so much greater than that of a child and a slave, but you're going to be the greatest of all of us.
Right.
I mean, it's a lot like Harry Potter. Not only are you a wizard, but you actually destroyed the greatest dark wizard the world has ever known. So that does actually make a lot of sense that it would impact him in such a way. I never really thought about that before. Another point I wanted to make about, you know, what I was saying with anything not directly related to his fall. I think that not enough time is spent showing Obi-Wan and Anakin as friends.
Absolutely.
And Clone Wars does a lot to rectify that, like IceMann was mentioning.
Yes.
Because it shows them with, you know, a lot more camaraderie, especially once Anakin has been promoted to, well, not when Anakin becomes a full-fledged Jedi Knight and is not just Obi-Wan's apprentice. And they're basically, I mean, Obi-Wan is a master at that point, but they're basically comrades in arms now and not teacher and student. But when you look at their relationship at the beginning of Episode 3, and like really that's like sort of my point, is they should have spent, you know, Episode 1 having them be master and apprentice, Episode 2 them being partners and friends and brothers, and Episode 3 it breaking down. So really you only see them on that level playing field at the beginning of Episode 3. But even then, like, they're so quick to argue and fight and bicker, and so little, like, do we see them, like, truly trusting each other. And, like, you are my brother, Anakin. We don't see that. So, anyway, my point is that we don't see enough of them as partners and friends. Anakin's betrayal of the Jedi Order is all well and good and is important and everything, but it's his betrayal of Obi-Wan that I think is central to it. He chooses Padme over the Jedi, and he chooses Padme over Obi-Wan. He chooses his passion and his foolhardiness and his shoot first, ask questions later. Like, at the end of the day, after all of Obi-Wan's teachings, he rejects it and discards it. And that should have been more central to Anakin's fall, is the choice of, like, he chooses, you know, like, the Sith Code talks about, you know, how passion is more important than peace and tranquility, as the Jedi teaches. So that is, I think, that choice between Jedi and Sith is most central to his fall, is choosing passion at the end of it. Just like HolyDiver said, that his passion is so central to him as a character, Anakin choosing passion over tranquility should have been more central to his fall.
Agreed.
What say you gentlemen?
Yeah, when it comes down to it, that's what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still, I don't know, I still feel like maybe his, at least at first, his intentions were still good.
Yeah.
I mean, as twisted as the decisions he made became, ever more so the farther he got. I mean, he's still, but that just goes right to, maybe he was never truly evil either.
Right.
Right.
To your point you just made about his choices, I sympathize with him sometimes, because often in my personal life, like, I'll be presented with a big important choice. So I'll ask friends, I'll research, I'll do whatever I can to look at both sides of the of the question, and I make the choice that I feel is truly the best one, or I try to, and then it ends up not working out for one reason. But all I have is the information I have. So when Anakin does the same thing, my wife is carrying my child and she's gonna die in childbirth. This guy is a liar and he's creepy, and it means betraying everybody else I ever cared about, but he might be able to save her. Therefore, I have to do it. And that's the information he had.
Absolutely.
He didn't know Palpatine's true motives, or he didn't know if Padme would survive or not, you know, whatever. So, you know, all you can do is your best. You know, all you can do is just, like I just said, you know, move forward with the information you have. And if that doesn't work out, you know, it's hard to blame you to a point when there's nothing, when there's just nothing more you could have done.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying, and that my least favorite part of how the prequels did his fall was when Anakin strangles Padme at the end of 3.
Yes, yes.
That was is incredibly unbelievable.
Yeah, there's no
set it up. I think her being the first person he force chokes is really cool. I like that as an idea, but the way they did it didn't work at all, and just
I think that should have been their goal in mind and informed all their decisions. They hint at it, and I think there are some deleted scenes that go in more into depth with it. He should have thought that Padme was cheating with Obi-Wan, because that would solve a bunch of their problems. That would, because then it's the Jedi that are betraying him. They have all these laws, but not only are you going to have an attachment, Obi-Wan, but it's to my wife.
Yeah.
And it would show his rage towards Padme. And since he is so impulsive and impetuous, like all it would take is like is Palpatine being like, hey, it's kind of crazy how much time Obi-Wan and Padme spend together, right? Like, to send him over the edge.
Yep, it would have been that simple. just something like that. Just plant the seed of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
In his head.
I read an interesting theory a while back that I wonder what you guys will think of. That is essentially what it is Anakin is subconsciously doing something to Padme, subconsciously causing her to fall in love with him through the power of the Force, unintentionally, because of his infatuation with her. And like, it's a really neat theory because it like, I don't know, it explains something for how quickly she falls for him in episode 2. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I don't think it holds much weight, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah, it is cool to think about. I think I would not like it because Star Wars is so much about destiny, and I think that Padme and Anakin are destined to be together. And if that theory is true, then I mean, not really. Like, yes. it just kind of worked out that way. But I do like it. I don't know. It is kind of cool.
It's neat. It's neat.
It does make you like look back at episode 2 in a new light. But I think that the way episode 2 is presented, I think it's way more like she did always want it to, as much as Anakin. It was not him breaking through from you don't love me to you do love me. It's making her care less about her responsibilities and stuff like he did.
Right.
Like, I don't think Padme ever didn't want to be with him. Like, it was love at first sight for him too, or for her too, I should say.
Yeah.
All right, so do you guys have any closing thoughts on Anakin's fall?
There was one point I wanted to make. There wasn't really a good time for me to interject, but when you were talking about Jericho, when you said honestly, I can't remember what you were even saying, but how Anakin knew, or at least thought he knew, that something bad was going to happen to Padme, is he kept having those same dreams, like you said, but he'd had those dreams about his mom too, and she died, like the exact same kind of dream.
Right.
So he didn't know that he was going to be the one to cause the dream to come true. You know, it was a, what's that called?
Prophetic, or
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. Literally prophecy.
Be ready for hostiles.
What?
I said literally a prophecy in this case.
Yeah, literally. So I think that at least can be said for the decisions that he makes. Like, he absolutely, like, to him, he knew that was going to happen unless he did something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely fair. That's true. I mean, yeah, the only like empirical data he had about his prophetic dream about loved ones dying is, well, I had this dream about my mom and she died.
Right.
I think
and he definitely
and
that about.
Yeah.
Well, he thought that was his fault too, though. Remember, he's like, I wasn't quick enough.
Yeah, like if he had come home, sooner.
So now, if he does nothing,
yeah, that will be on his hands as well.
And that certainly wasn't going to happen because it's Padme. If there's anybody he could love more than his mother, it was her.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
I think it might have been cool if they had made it like you're totally right. He does say like, oh, it was my fault, I should have been quicker and all that. But I think he should have been more like the Tusken Raiders see him walk up and they kill her and he can't quite get there fast enough. So then it really is kind of his fault. Like, maybe they wouldn't have done that, or at least leave it open-ended, because that way, like, it does make sense for him to be so scared about Padme, because yes, the dream did come true, but it also would lend further credence to, like, he should just calm down and ignore his dreams because he may have been the one to make it happen in the first place.
yeah.
I honestly, I like it the way it is. I think that it's important for him that he sees that, no, it doesn't matter what I did. I mean, yeah, if I had acted sooner, I could have prevented it. If I hadn't acted, I wouldn't have. Just like what IceMann was saying. It's all about it's his power, you know. If I don't help Padme, she will die. Therefore, my mom will die and would have died, you know.
That's true, but I think like the way I was presenting it too, that still is the question. Like, he still would feel that way, that if I hadn't done anything, or if I had gotten there sooner, then I could have saved her. But it would have made it more obvious to the audience, because when we hear him say that in episode 3 the way it is now, we're like, well, no. Like, I mean, maybe you could have, but if it was like a more direct, in your face, like, oh, if he had been there a little bit sooner, he could have saved her, or maybe he made it worse.
Yeah.
But I don't know, your point is a good one, that the way it's presented, you know, it still makes a lot of sense for how he would react to it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Your idea definitely probably makes for a better movie. Definitely could have been presented better, but this way, doing it so, like, having it the way it's done, I'm sorry, I don't know how to speak tonight, makes it like, not like ridiculous when you're watching it, like gee, but like, gee, like Anakin, it wasn't like, there's nothing you could have done. Like, it makes
right.
his anger like that much more, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, definitely. Like since it sounds like crazy when we hear it, like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, there's nothing you could have done. You know, you couldn't possibly know. Like, now it makes him like losing it over it. Like, all the more like, oh, the dark side is really getting to him. Like, it's
yeah.
that like how could you think that? How could you blame yourself?
Right. That's what I'm trying to say. You know me better than I know myself.
Oh.
So romantic.
Did you have any closing thoughts, Holy?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job. Darn shame about that Anakin.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is, and it just.
Especially. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say I wanna convey what the Clone Wars has done for me. Like, it's totally made me see just almost everything in a new light, and it makes his turn when it happens just that much more just gut-wrenching. Just like, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. I think
so much away.
I think that the choices and that the creators make and the way that Clone Wars is presented in a lot of ways validates a lot of what we're saying here, because they feel the same way. They want to show Anakin and Obi-Wan as partners more. They want to show Anakin's passion more. You know, they want to show the relationship with him and Padme more. it's really like the Clone Wars are kind of made to kind of clean up some of the things about Anakin's fall, the most important story told in Star Wars.
They clean up a lot. Everybody needs to go watch every episode of the Clone Wars now. They're all on Netflix. They're so good.
It's a little bit hard to get into, and it definitely gets better as it goes on. But I think that the Clone Wars show is really, really, really underrated, including by me. It was a long time. I'm such a huge Star Wars fan, but it took me the longest time to finally sit down and watch it. I still am not all the way through it. I've seen most of it, but it was really like a revelation. But if nobody has any other closing thoughts, I think that'll wrap it up for us today. Thank you so much to HolyDiver and IceMann for joining me. This will be our round table for at least a few of these discussions whenever we're able to get everybody together on Skype. But if you enjoyed, please leave a like or a comment down below and let us know maybe some topics you'd like us to talk about in the future. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. War Stories come out every Tuesday and Thursday, but there's content, at least one video every single day, be it a war story like this, a snack, which is a first impressions video, or my current full playthrough. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you to my my guests for joining me, and that'll do it for us today. I don't know about you guys, but we're